Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio. Once again, I'm Tony A. the Wizard, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm here once again, made possible, powered by Go Toes Distribution. Much love and respect to everybody in Houston. Much love and respect to everybody that's watching. Now, today, we actually got a very, very special guest. First time meeting him, first time interviewing him, and I take it he doesn't do much interviews. So, you know what? I feel very blessed and honored to be able to sit across from Lucky Luciano.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm blessed.
You know what? I want to jump right into it because Gotos wanted me to ask you, how did you guys meet?
First time I met Gotos was had to be back in 99 to early 2000. We was at a apartment with some girls that lived in this apartment in Houston. There's a street called Richmond. Back in those days, there was a number of clubs on that street.
Okay.
After the club, everybody would go to these apartments across the street. So we was in there and we was, wilding out, freestyling. Everybody would go hang out over there. So we would have the music playing, rapping, and I was in one of them rooms just rapping free. I had a little concert going on back there rapping. And then Gotos came up to me when I was done. He was like, "Yo, I want to do an album with you," but I didn't know who he was, and I was just like, "All right, cool, whatever." Yeah, I thought he was just some stranger. I didn't know he was from Cali. I didn't know nothing about him.
Right.
But later on, I ended up running into him, and then that's how we connected.
Okay. You know what? Let's take it back. Are you originally from Houston?
Yeah, H-Town.
You're born and raised?
My grandma from H-Town. Everybody from H-Town. We from H-Town, Houston.
That's awesome. How long now has let me rephrase the question. You come from a big family, but a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters?
No,
a
a lot of cousins, and I have a big family, but not a bunch of brothers and sisters. But I always had cousins and stuff over at my house and stuff.
Okay. Growing up at home, I take it mother and father. What kind of music was played as you were a boy growing up? What would your mother, what would your father play?
Whatever was hot at that time. So my parents were real young when they had me. They were 16 years old. So okay. I grew up with them, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's where I got a lot of my, street smarts or my game from my dad and his friends and just being around their, that environment. They're from the streets, So.
Right. Growing up, did you play any sports?
No.
Did you play any musical instruments?
I wanted to be a rapper since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to be a rapper since I was as far back as I can remember.
Now, what do you think it was that inspired that?
I think I liked music, the music. I don't know. It was just something about it. I just since I was a kid, as far back as I remember, that's what I wanted to do. I remember seeing the dudes with the big gold chain, Run DMC with the big gold chains, what I'm saying? And I was like, that's what I want to do. What I'm saying?
Right.
So
I was in 6th grade when the first time I heard my first rap song, which was Rapper's Delight, okay, Sugar Hill Gang. Do you remember your first rap song that you heard?
I don't remember the very first one. No, I don't remember.
Okay. Was there ever any rapper growing up that inspired you other than the Run DMCs? But there's one guy that when I heard, for me, production, it was always Dr. Dre. When he was with the World Class Wrecking Crew and then watching him form the NWA camp. So was there a rapper?
Yeah, well, when I got inspired by the Houston rap scene. Back in the early 90s, it was DJ Screw and all those guys hanging out at his house freestyling.
Yeah.
So I was inspired by that. You know what I'm saying? The mainstream rappers, East Coast and West Coast, we listened to them. But when we saw people from Houston doing it, that's what made it more believable and attainable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? And I'm glad you brought up DJ Screw because I had mentioned earlier that I had been out of the game for a while. I only heard of DJ Screw 2 years ago, okay? And I always wanted to ask somebody or give me a little bit about DJ Screw. How big was DJ Screw during that time?
In Texas, he was the biggest. He was the biggest in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, he was the
biggest.
And
I'm shocked that I didn't hear it because many times when people say, how could you hear it? Bro, I just wasn't into music for a long time. Yeah. I took a break.
He was like the radio station for us in Houston. That whatever was playing on that's how we heard about a lot of West Coast artists like Sibo, Spice One, or stuff like that. That was getting played on them DJ Screw tapes back in the early 90s. Yeah. So that's how we heard a lot of whatever. If it was on the DJ Screw tape, that's what we listened to.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this question, and I usually get different types of answers. The first time you actually recorded yourself rapping, and you play it back, and you hear your voice, did you like what you heard?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I was talking to the other artist not too long ago, and I said, it's funny because about 80 to 90% of the people that listen to their voice, they don't like it. They have to almost get used to it.
Yeah.
But you're telling me you did like it.
Nah, I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first single that you dropped? Like the very first one that you said, let me just go ahead and throw this out there.
I had a lot of underground tapes, so we used to sell them in high school. You know what I'm saying? We would make tapes at the house, freestyling over beats and stuff. So but the actual first single I did was that one. I went to like an actual studio with a beat. You know?
Yes.
That one right there ended up. That's what got me known. That was called "I Don't Bond." You know what I'm saying? That was the first song I did, and I ended up getting signed to a record company that used to be in the same building, Roadium Records, with Charles Chavez. He had a record company way back then, and I shot him that song, and he ended up signing me, doing an album deal with him.
Awesome, awesome. Now you mentioned tapes. Now when you mentioned tapes, I come from the era of cassettes.
Yeah, they were cassettes.
They were cassettes. Okay, yeah. I started making mixtapes from '87 to '91 until I was signed, and then from there I didn't do no mixtapes. But a lot of people don't realize how far these cassettes actually travel.
Right.
Like when I did my first mixtape, my best one was in '88, and it was called '88 Boom and Bass. And my friend who was in the military was in Germany, and he said, I heard somebody bumping it out there.
Yeah.
So how far do you think your mixtapes went?
They went far. I mean, Russia, Germany, all that. You know, we got people that have, especially with the internet. Once the internet came out, it was over. Yeah.
It was over. Yeah. Awesome. As far as production, did you ever do your own production?
No, I can't make a beat to save my life.
See, and honestly, and I can't write a lyric to save my life, bro. You'll be surprised how many people have said, man, don't wait for rappers, rap yourself. I've never tried, bro, because it's just never, I stay in my lane.
Yeah, me too.
You know, but as far as production is concerned, when you first started, were you first downloading music like off of YouTube? Because I get a lot of rappers to tell me
we didn't have YouTube back then. I started in the late '90s, early 2000s. There wasn't no YouTube, wasn't no social media. We had to get a trunk full of tapes and CDs that we burned ourselves and go to these stores from city to city and get our hustle on out the trunk. So I'm from that era, you know what I'm saying? Before social, now somebody can get on social media and start talking mess about some other rapper and blow up. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that luxury.
No, exactly. It is a luxury. I remember when MySpace first came out, was like, what, 2005 or somewhere around there. Then I started seeing kind of like social media taking off, and I'm like, okay, this is a good way how to promote yourself.
Right.
And I remember the only reason why I got on MySpace because I started the tour for 1 year again. And after that 1 year, it was 2006 going into 2007, after that, I just deleted my MySpace because I just figured, you know what? I'm going to these bars, I'm going to these clubs. They're saying it's for networking. All we're doing is switching off numbers, telling each other stories, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
So I went back to work, and that's what I did. Now, when you were signed to that label and you released your first single, the thing started to take off for you like immediately, or did it gradually?
No, it started taking off. But when you're young, and you're not, I wasn't prepared for that, you know, to be thrown in that nightlife VIP and having money and just access to so much pleasures of life. I wasn't ready for that. So it really hurt me. I ain't gonna lie. It ended up hurting me. So I ended up, you know, struggling with alcohol, drugs, women, having babies with different girls all over the state. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how my life was for the next 10, 15 years.
Wow.
And then, you know, I had to, you know, say, hey, I need to get my life together. And that's when I had to make a change and really change my life.
Yeah.
So.
No, you know what? I truly appreciate, you know, you coming here and being transparent. You know, I remember yesterday when Toes told me you were going to be here, like, you know, he played me some of your music and he played me some of your new music. And I was actually very, very impressed. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like a lot of new rap. But I was actually very, very impressed by you, especially some of the stuff that he told me about your life now, which we'll get into. But I'm glad that you said that, you know, you were indulging in the whole nightlife, because for me, it was pretty much almost the same way. And a lot of times I don't like sharing my story on my podcast because it's overkill. A lot of people already know it.
Right.
But I was 22 years old and I was traveling all over the U.S. I had a brand new car, a place by the beach. And I'll be quite honest with you, man, I felt lost.
Yeah, so did I.
You know,
yeah, a lot of these rappers that they don't share that side of it, and I think it's important that we do. They just show the shiny stuff, the jewelry, the cars, and the women, and they show that part of it. And everybody else at home that's got a regular job, they're looking at it thinking, oh, that's the life to live. And they're, feeling depressed about their life.
Right.
And all the while, this rapper that's acting like he got it all together, still struggling with his own demons. And when he goes at home at night and everybody leaves, I know how he feels when the party's over and everybody goes home and now he's alone at that house or that hotel room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
When the drugs wear off and you got that hangover the next day, you can't look yourself in the mirror and say you don't regret it.
Absolutely. I interviewed a rapper by the name of Candyman. He had a big hit. His album, I believe, went platinum. Sold 1 million units. He came out in early 90s. He ended up touring with Tone Loc, who sang Wild Thing, all over the world.
You're talking about Candyman and
Yes.
Tone Loc. I know who you're talking about.
So Candyman, I'm interviewing him, and he tells me, I had this, I had that, I had this, I had that. He said, but I was still empty. And I said, what do you think that was? And I tripped out on his answer, but it was a real answer. He said, because it's fake.
It's fake.
That's what he said. He goes, because it's fake. He said, I had to step away and gather myself, get myself together. And I think that's why I took a break too, because I had to get myself together because everything in the 90s was just going too fast for me. I wasn't at home. I did have children, but I wasn't fathering them. They were living with me, but I was always like, I'll be back. I got to go. I got to do this. I got to do that. Sleeping all day and staying out all night, every night. And after a while, you just got to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Because I found out that money, at least for me, and I'll speak for myself, money didn't bring me happiness.
No, it don't.
Yeah.
You got to find your purpose in life. And, that's what it is. And I'm 43 years old, and I barely started this, self-development journey, about 5-6 years ago when I said, I really, really need to change because now my kids are getting older. Like when your kids are babies and they don't know no better,
right.
You can lie to them all you want. They don't know. They don't see, like dad can do no wrong. But once they start getting a little older, they know what's going on, So I had to say, okay, am I going to live this life of being in the strip club, throwing money at these girls and getting high and getting drunk and going city to city doing shows? Or am I going to be a father and take my kids to school and be able to be a husband to my wife and, a real man and an example for my family? Am I going to be able to do that? And you can't do both. You got to pick. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So I had to pick. And so then I was like, okay, well, how am I going to pay my bills? Because this over here is how I pay my bills and I make my money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said, well, how am I going to provide for them if I'm just here? I got to feed them. So I had to talk to God. That's when I had to call on God. And I said, God, I had to get on my knees and pray. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I did. I had to pray. And I said, God, you see my life. I got these kids. I want to do right, but I need some help. I only know this one way to live. How am I going to provide for them if I get that up?
Yeah.
And God started talking to me, bro. I feel like God lives within all of us, but when we're so filled with this negative energy and this low vibration from, the drugs, the alcohol, the stuff we're looking at on social media, the food we're eating, all of that blocks our connection with God. But, when you really, really get to that rock bottom and you cry out to him with your heart, he'll listen to you. And the more you get away from that negative energy and raise your vibration, you'll start to hear God speak to you. So when God spoke to me that day, he didn't tell me go to church or go read the Bible like some people may think. It's crazy what he told me. He told me go outside and run. And it was in the morning. It was January 1st. I remember because I was hungover from New Year's Eve the night before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was January 1st, hungover, and I went outside that morning and I ran. And I did it every day, every morning. And I just felt God telling me, keep it up, keep going, keep going. Every morning I started doing that. And I didn't even realize it was a thing called personal development or self-discipline. I didn't know that was a thing. I was just figuring it out on my own. But that's what I was doing. I was developing daily disciplines and daily habits that compounded over time. And before I knew it, my life was changed. And then when I would make little videos of me out there running every morning, and so people started seeing it. So the Christian rappers and Christian community, the church community, basically, like reached out to me and welcomed me with open arms, like, hey, we see what you're doing, we come over here, and that's good. I believe that church is good and the Christian faith is good. Everybody needs that, you know what I'm saying? But I do believe there's a lot of grace and forgiveness in that. And that's why a lot of Christians backslide and they can't get it together, because they go to church and in Christians, we believe that no matter what you do, what Jesus did on the cross, you are healed, you're forgiven. So no matter what sin you do, you ask for forgiveness and you're forgiven. The problem with that is next week you out there sinning again. And now it's just this cycle and you never stop, you keep going. Even Christians, you can say, well, when you're filled with the Holy Spirit, you won't do that. But there's pastors that still struggle with, adultery. There's Christians still struggling with pornography, smoking weed, drinking alcohol. They still struggle with all that. And it's because they don't have no self-discipline. But when you pick up those daily habits of denying your flesh and denying your body, the Bible says it's called dying to self. So when you wake up before the sun's up every day, no days off, 7 days a week, and you do something your body don't want to do, like go run a mile or do 100 burpees or push-ups, go to the gym, something every day, it builds that mental toughness and that discipline and that self-belief, that self-worth that we've lost. And that's the journey I've been on, and that's what I help other people do now. I feel like there's a lot of men out there that struggle with alcohol, drugs. They don't know how to quit, and everybody around them's done it. Their dad has done it. Their grandpa done it, and they feel like it's okay. But, there's a way out. And you got to go within, though. They're trying to search for an external solution with an internal problem, and you won't ever find it like that. You got to go within.
I'm glad you shared that. When you look back at your music, when you listen back to your music, or maybe you go on YouTube and you see your videos and the way you're living your life now, do you ever look back and say, what the hell was I doing?
Oh, yeah, all the time. But, I had to go through that I feel like God will put you through that pain so you can heal yourself, so you can heal others. See, my fans grew up with me. They saw my struggle. They saw my journey. They saw me out there wilding out. Yeah. And then they saw me change my life, and now they see what I'm doing now. So they're like, it's like it builds their belief. Like, yo, look at Luck. He changed his life around. If he could do it, I can do it. So there's a purpose in your struggle.
Yeah. So would you say it took you about maybe 15 years before you came to that conclusion that like I got to turn my life around, or did you ever feel that way during those 15 years?
No, it took me about 15 years to start thinking I need it, because I was enjoying it at the time when I was young. When you're in your 20s, I was enjoying it, but
fun.
It was fun. You know what I'm saying? But after years and years and years of that, I wasn't getting nowhere. I'm just spinning in a cycle. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the love for my kids and my family. That's what really made me change.
Right.
So
there was a time, if you don't mind me sharing part of my journey, there was a time where I was just out on the road a lot. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't like I was making great money, but I had good money in the bank. Whenever I would go spend for like 15 minutes, $1,000.
Yeah.
I need you to come over to this club, another $1,000. So I was always making money, had a brand new car by the beach, but I was really, really lonely and broken inside, bro.
Yeah.
And I knew it, but I just buy new clothes to look happier, new shoes to look like if I was still, the dude. But a lot of times people need to understand that lifestyle, you don't understand that. When the lights are turned off and you're home alone,
that's when you're alone with your demons.
That's when you're alone with your demons. I'm glad you said that.
That's right.
Because it's true. And
they
come.
You got to beat them down daily. So I don't feel like I've arrived either. There's still a part of me that is lazy, wants to drink, wants to go out, wants to be out there with women, throwing money and having notoriety and fame. That part of me is still there.
Yeah.
So I have to deny it every day I wake up. That's why I wake up at 5. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see I don't miss. Every morning I'm outside at 5 a.m. running, you know what I'm saying, or at the gym. Every single morning, because I know it's a daily battle. You'll never arrive.
Yeah. So when you came to that conclusion to change your life, did you have to think about it, or you knew immediately this is what I need to do? No,
I kept trying, bro. I kept trying from about 15 years into it. I tried to quit on my own and I couldn't do it. It took me about 5 years trying to quit on and on until finally I was like, I had to get down on my knees and ask God for some help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when it happened for me.
Let me share this with you. It was 2002 when I decided to leave the whole music thing. I was just tired of it. It was from 87 to 2002. And I just said, I'm so done. I called on my buddy. He got me a job, started working for Rouse in the city of Compton. Ralph's distribution center where we send out food to the markets. So I worked there, and for 15 years, bro, I was content. I was happy. But I'm going to tell you what made me happy was that I thought I was picking up the scriptures. I met a couple of people, and they were like, you need to go ahead and read that. I don't want to read it. Go ahead and read that. Met an individual, started giving me books on history, whether it was Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, whether it was Greece, Rome, Israel, all history books. And then one day he gave me a 1611 King James Bible, started reading this. I started from the book of Genesis to the Revelations in 3 months. I gave it back to him, and he said, no, that one you keep. So I kept it, and that's where I found my peace.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I found it. And let me tell you something, there was a lot of things that I read in there that I struggled with. And the hardest one was when he asked me, what was it about Jesus that really, really stuck to you? And when he said to love your enemies, and I said, and I closed the book. And he said, why did you do that? And I said, because I can't do that.
Yes, that's a hard pill to swallow for some people, but you got to come to the realization that we have a piece of God in all of us. We're just having a different experience. Like, you are a different version of me. I am a different version of you, having a different experience. So that's why we must love everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's not like we have haters or someone's hate. No, they just feel that something inside of them, and they're projecting it on us. But it's how they feel about themselves. Yeah.
Now, for somebody that may be watching, and you're sharing that how you change your life around, and I take it because I heard your music. You still rap, correct?
Yeah, when I feel like it, but not really. It's not like I'm running to the studio to make another album.
Okay. I was gonna say, for somebody that's in possibly the Christian rap genre, how would you encourage them to stay strong? Because a lot of them, we just heard The Fall. I believe his name was Danny Trejo.
Oh, Brian Trejo.
Trejo. Okay. Again, Gold Toast told me that about yesterday. I didn't even know.
Yeah, it goes back to the self-discipline. That's what many men are lacking, is self-discipline. It's a program. Like in y'all California state, when y'all go to prison in California, whether you're from the north, the south, the white boys, they got to go outside and program. They got to wake up. It's mandatory. Come out the cell. They go in the yard. They're going to do these burpees. They're going to do these push-ups.
Right.
They're going to do their thing. That's a disciplined, structured life, mandatory, no days off, daily process, non-negotiable. If somebody took those principles and applied them to their personal life and their business life, they'd be unstoppable. Anybody. Yeah. But you got to hold yourself accountable and do it. You can't do it just by going to church and, worshiping at church and you're basically acting that you might feel like you're at peace there, or when you're in your word, you got peace. But what about when you're not? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where the self-discipline comes into effect. You have to have that. It's a daily process.
It is a daily process. I had an individual here yesterday that he was telling me the same thing. He had given his life to the Lord in prison, and he was pretty much sharing the same thing. Now, do you attend a church?
Yeah. I still go to church. So I used to go to a smaller church when I first started on my walk with Christ. A pastor reached out to me. Shout out to Pastor Juan. I love you to death. But it was a small church. And you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to talk down on the church. You know what I'm saying? I just go to a bigger church now where nobody knows who I am. The pastor don't know who I am. I just want to go there, receive the word, and go home. You know what I'm saying? And hold myself accountable every single day I wake up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
As a believer, how do you feel being in church and possibly somebody say, can I take a picture with you? Can I have your autograph?
That would happen all the time at that small church. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That would happen like almost every Sunday.
Right. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel like, bro, just leave me alone?
No, because, I know that they're seeing it like, yo, this is the church Lucky goes to. Let's go over there and try it out, go check it out. So it's good. We're bringing people to the church, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be fishers of men and reach the souls. So that's good, so I don't, but at the same time, I don't want to get involved so I was real heavy in the church, in the ministry, the church, in the ministry, you know what I'm saying? And when you get involved and people start knowing your personal life, you start having that church problems with people at the church, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not me necessarily, but that just happens because everybody's in your business, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just want to go to a big church where nobody knows who I am. The pastor don't know me, I don't know him. I'm there to receive the word and go home. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Now, as far as the whole church thing, Have you ever performed? Like, has anybody ever asked you, "Hey, man, can you come over here?" And
All the time. Yes, I was in the Christian hip hop community for like the first couple years of this
Really?
journey. Yeah, I would do so that's what made me like kind of back up a little bit, because so when I was on this personal development every morning doing what I do, I had a program, a daily program.
Okay.
What happens is your life starts to pick up and change because everybody's looking at you, and now they want you to come speak at these men's conference and go to this church and go talk to these people and go do this. So now I'm back on the road traveling again, but just now I'm doing it in Jesus' name.
Right.
But now I'm still gone away from my family every weekend.
Right.
Still traveling. I'm not doing my morning routine now because now I'm out here doing the works of God.
Right.
But, you know, in some churches and things were genuine. And some, you can tell that they're saying, let's get lucky over here. We'll bring more people over here, and it's about the money. You see what I'm saying? So I started seeing things in the ministry that just I wasn't aligning with. You know what I mean?
You know, this is no excuse. I did a podcast. I did an interview. I personally don't do interviews like go to somebody's place, but I did it for this one guy named Dave. Much love and respect. I actually asked him, I want to go on your podcast. It's called Street Gospel, because I've studied the scriptures for several years, and I wanted to talk Bible. And I say this with all love and respect to him, but he wanted to talk music, my music history.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I just think my story is overkill, and I really don't care.
Yeah.
I was there let's talk. This is street gospel. Let's talk gospel.
Right.
You know, but I think we went into it got into the gospel thing maybe the last 30, 40 minutes of a 2-hour interview. But I like talking scripture. Now, he asked me, how do I feel about Christian rap? And I just told him the truth. Look, the people that I knew that rapped weren't really Christians.
Right.
They just couldn't make it in the world.
Right.
So they started rapping for Jesus.
Yeah. So I started seeing a lot of that too. I'm telling you, that's what made me back up a little bit, because, you know, there was some real ones and then there was some that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And
right.
You know, I just didn't want to, you know, be so much caught up in that Christian hip hop scene, you know, where they got a flyer and then they put all the rappers' names or faces all big on the flyer, but we're supposed to be representing Jesus. What, you know, why you care about our faces? Put Jesus on the flyer. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
So, you know, I started just seeing a lot of stuff that wasn't aligning with my morals and beliefs.
One thing about me that I can say that I have not found a good church yet. Now in LA, there's a lot of churches. Now, I guarantee you a lot of people didn't think that this interview was going to go this route, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black churches in LA, and what turns me off to a lot of the pastors all have a Rolls Royce. They have a Rolls Royce club.
Yeah.
That just doesn't sit well with me. So I try to avoid those kind of churches. I would rather go to a small, intimate church where there's probably maybe 100 people there,
right,
and I don't even know the pastor. But if I wanted to get to know the pastor, I just hope that he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
You know, because I would rather be a nobody, sit there, listen, have somebody pray over me, and read the scriptures than, is that Tony A? Oh, you're the guy that does the podcast.
Right.
I try to avoid all of that. So I understand just a little bit of how you feel, because, you know, your name is everywhere, you know, and especially still living here in Houston. I said, when people see you, they think, look, Luciano.
Right.
You know, they see you in church, I'm going to go get a pic.
Right.
You know, now, for people that may not know, do you read often?
Yeah, I read every day. So
Every day.
I got a team. So I mentor people. I coach people. So we meet every morning, Monday through Friday, on 7:30 a.m. on Zoom with my people. And so we go outside, we run, we go to the gym, do our exercise, and we pray, and we read a chapter of a book. Well, I listen to the Audible while I'm running. You know, it's a chapter. So I listen to the book every morning, and then when we get on Zoom, we discuss what was our takeaway from the chapter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a community of people trying to better themselves, and that's what we do. We've read this year. We've read about 3 books already this year. So we're just finished one actually, and it's called The Power of One More. That was the one we just finished today. So we'll start another one on Monday when we meet. We'll discuss chapter 1 on Monday.
Oh, okay. So you got pretty much just fellowship through Zoom.
Yes, our morning routine is pray, run, read. That's what we do. We pray, when we get up, pray, thank God, go outside and run, read the chapter, and then come back, discuss it. And so I'm trying to, help them better their lives. I found the quickest way to reach your goals is helping other people reach their goals. And when the Bible says we're supposed to have a heart to serve, and I feel like if the more people I help, the more successful I am. Just like with Toes here, Go Toes. Go Toes told me something a long time ago that stuck with me. He said, "Lucky," because I was like, "Bro, how do you making money and just getting these little percentages off of everybody?" Because this was a long time ago when he first started.
Yeah.
Now he's got hundreds of rappers that he does digital for, but this was back in the day. He was like, "Lucky, I just want to make pennies off a lot of people." He goes, "I don't want to make a lot off one person. I just want to make pennies off a lot of people." And so that stuck with me. And then later on, I found out there was a thing called the income of 1 off of 100 or 100 off of 1. So what that means is if you're self-employed or you got a job, 100% of your income comes off of you. Right? But if you can figure out a way to make 100% of your income come off of 100 people, now you're in the money. You see what I'm saying? So that's what Toes has done with his digital distribution. He's made pennies off of a lot. I have the same thing. I've got over 100 licensed agents. We do life insurance and investments. So I've got, a team of agents from all over. I got some in Cali, you know what I'm saying, that are licensed out there. So
when you started this, was this with your new life or
with my new life? So remember when I prayed and asked God, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
This fell in my lap. So, like after I went out there and ran and started doing that for about 6 months into that, I still would get checks and stuff from my music streaming and stuff, but I just wasn't doing shows and I wasn't doing features no more for rappers. You know what I'm saying? So I was still able to pay my bills a little bit. The money did slow up a little bit, but about 6 months into it, a buddy of mine from Dallas reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, Lucky, you want to make some money with insurance?" And I said, "How?" And he was like, "Let's get on a Zoom call and I'll show you." And then we got on the Zoom and then he showed me. He was like, when they showed it to me, I was like, "Man, I don't know if I want to do this, but I know I need this. I need I need some life insurance. I got kids. I need a Roth IRA set up with invested in some mutual funds." So he showed me how to do all that. And then he was like, "Look, you got a lot of people, let me show you how to get your license. And then you could be a silent partner. You just bring me the people and we'll get paid every time we do it." So that's how I started off, like a silent partner. I would just send him referrals. I was licensed and we would both, break bread.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Sounds like God did show you.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You know what? It's funny because I didn't think that this interview was going to go this route. I wanted to talk music, but you know what? I'm glad it did because I was taught to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
But now, your life now, it's a testimony to a lot of people.
That's right.
A lot of people are happy. A lot of people are glad because they might have saw where you were going before. I saw where I was going before. And I'm thankful that I had an opportunity to at least gather myself, get a job, get my mind back together, away from the industry, away from the music, away from the so-called friends, and just be a normal guy. Mm-hmm. There was a guy at my job. For 5 years, he kept telling me, "Bro, you look familiar. You look familiar." I don't know what you're talking about. My badge would say Antonio. Okay, my name was Tony A. Okay, on the streets. So one day, after like 5 years, he brings up my cassette and he says, "So this is not you?" And he pointed at the cassette, and I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, that's me, bro." but here's what I didn't like. They started treating me different, more like, "That's him. I told you. I told you."
Yeah.
And that's what all of a sudden, everybody rapped. Everybody wanted beats. And I'm like, "I'm not doing that, bro. I'm just here cleaning toilets. Guy will work in sanitation. Mm-hmm. I'm just here cleaning toilets. That's all I want to do."
Yeah.
So after 15 years, I directed my first documentary based on my ex-manager, a Japanese vendor from the city of Whittier, who helped me and introduced me to everyone in the game. If it wasn't for him, I would have never have known all the West Coast greats. If it wasn't for him, I would have never gotten my major record deal. If it wasn't for him, I would have never went on tour. I didn't have a business mind, but I was creative in music and on my turntables. So he said, "I'm going to team you up with this guy and this guy. We're going to get a deal. We're going to go here." Cool. I didn't know how to use my drum machine. We're going to go to Dre's house and teach you how to use it. Then eventually I met DJ Quick. He gave me all his sounds for his drum machine. And then that's how I started building my stuff.
That guy was the plug for real.
He truly was the plug. So I went ahead and did my did this documentary. I wanted to promote it. I didn't know how. Long story short, started up a podcast. 5 years later, 113,000 subscribers. And you know what? It's giving me a voice, and it's giving especially the Raza a voice, because I realized that there wasn't a platform where Raza can come and showcase their talent or tell their story. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
You have a story, and I'm thankful that I'm across from you hearing this story, especially knowing now that you give your life to the Lord.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing, man. So thank you for sharing that. Now, as far as moving forward, pertaining to music, do you still dabble in the music? Do you still want to go in? Like, what are your plans, if you have any?
For right now, I don't have any plans for music right now. I'm sorry if my fans don't like to hear that, but you got to understand, I did that since I was a teenager, bro.
Right.
All the way, I'm 43 now. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So I did it for years and years and years and years. When I feel like it, I might, pick up my phone and bust a freestyle on my Instagram for them every now and then. But other than that, maybe one day when I get, my business where I want it and it's rolling without me having to be there, maybe.
Right.
Goto's telling me all the time, he's like, we need to put another album out. What you doing? We need to put another album out. And I'm like, bro, I'm retired, man.
Yeah, right. So look at Luciano's retired. Okay, so you said you're 43, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, 43. In late November, I want to give a shout out to Bobby D Presents. He puts a shows together called one of the biggest promoters out in Cali. Kings of the West.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop Dogg headlined it. E40 was on there. Too Short, DJ Quick, Sugar Free, me and my friend High C, Second to None, East Siders. What tripped me out, everybody on that tour is over 50 years old.
Yeah.
They should have called it something else, like the 50-year club or something.
Well, a lot of them guys got to do them tours.
And you know what? You're absolutely right.
It's not that they want to; they got to. You know what I'm saying?
You are absolutely right, because a lot of those guys weren't wise investors.
Yeah.
And I believe that is one thing, after reading the scriptures, that not only are we going to be held accountable for things that we have done, but also I truly believe on how we handled our finances.
Yeah, the Bible says you have to be a good steward of your money,
Yeah.
So if you just squander off your blessings, you're going to have to answer for that, so.
No, and it's very, very true. Now, you being a very successful rapper in the world, one of the scriptures says that it'll be easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom. I'll be honest with you, those scriptures always scared me. And I'll tell you why they scared me. Because I've always said to myself, I don't want to be rich. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be rich. And the reason why I would say that is because I know me. I know me. That if I have a lot of it, I'd probably fall back.
Yeah, that's why it goes back to that self-discipline process that you got to have every day, because same thing with me. Me too, So I had to create the man that could handle money, and it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, you got to handle the. That's good. That's good. Now, as far as your family is concerned, you guys go to church together. You read. You have this whole daily, routine that you do weekly, I should say.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
I don't take no days off. I meet with my team Monday through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday I'm out there. Yeah, I don't take no days off. I can't. If you start taking days off, it messes the whole thing up. It's like compound interest. It's a compound effect of doing it every single day. You know, and that's how you build that belief, that confidence, to where when those negative thoughts or some kind of addiction or something that pops up in your head, you can shut it down quick, because you already put yourself through it early in the morning.
Yeah, so that's how you're disciplining yourself.
Yes.
It's a daily thing. If I had to ask you, not necessarily a scripture, but your favorite book in the Bible, do you have one?
Proverbs.
And why Proverbs?
Proverbs gives you the wisdom that you need and how to live. It's written by Solomon. And when Solomon became the king, the angel came to him and said, your dad, David, was such a faithful man of God. What do you want now that you're the king? And he said, I just want wisdom so I can, handle my kingdom. And he gave him wisdom. And that was the book he wrote. Proverbs and Ecclesiastics. That's from Solomon. They're both good books.
I've never heard anybody mention Ecclesiastics.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite books.
Really, mine has to be Genesis. has to be Genesis, because I believe that everything that's happening or that's going to happen or is relevant, it's in the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis. Like, I truly, truly love that book. A lot of people will ask me why, and I said, well, because there's marriage, there's sin, there's the fall of man. I mean, just everything in the first 11 chapters. But I think what really captivated me about the scriptures was the prophecy. I really, really love prophecy. And so I bought a lot of eschatology books to teach myself, because all throughout the 90s, there were no, we didn't have internet, you know. So you had to go to the library, or you had to go buy books or whatnot. But yeah, man, I educated myself, and I think I went hard on educating myself, because in school I never applied myself to school. I was always ditching, going to ditching parties, DJing somewhere, you know, doing whatever, you know. But when I got introduced to music at such an early age, one thing that I always struggle with, I went to a nightclub when I was 11 years old. I had just graduated 6th grade. My brother took me to a club, and I always said this, that I don't know if that was such a wise thing. So everybody watching, don't let your kids go to clubs, because after that, I didn't think of school anymore. All I thought about was music and women. At 11 years old. So I never applied myself in school. So when I got in my 20s and I started reading, I just really started soaking it up. I truly, truly did. And it blessed me. And I truly do believe that I've been blessed to be a blessing. Okay? I believe we all should be a blessing, you know. Now, let me ask you this. When it's all said and done, Lucky, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
As someone who changed their life for the betterment of not only his family, but for those that watched me, and to be an inspiration to them, to let them know that it's possible to change your life. No matter how low you feel, what addiction you have, whatever you're struggling with, whatever traumas you went through, it can be changed. You know, you got to call out to God, but now you got to go apply that. You can't just call out to God and think God gonna come wave a wand and fix your whole life. It's not a genie. You got to put in the work.
You know, I'm going to tell you that I've never met you before, right? We've never met, okay? I'm sitting across listening to you share your story, and I'm truly blessed by it. But I kind of think, like, I wonder what he was like before this.
I was when I was in the wild. So people say, how did you become a Christian rapper? I didn't really become a Christian rapper. I just always rapped about my life. So when I was in the streets, you know, running around in the streets, I was rapping about the streets. When I was dropping girls off at the strip club and picking them up, getting their money, I was rapping about pimping. When I was, whatever I was doing in my life at that time, that's what I was rapping about. So when I got closer to God, started changing my life around, the lyrics came out like that. So I've always been a writer and a person that rapped about my lifestyle. So, you know, it's not that I said, oh, and I'm going to be a Christian rapper. No, it's just that's how I was living. You know what I'm saying?
You know, and Goto's never told me you were a Christian rapper. He actually just said, oh, he switched it up now, because he played me a couple of your songs. And I was like, okay, I like that. I like that. And then he was like, but now he just raps different. I was like, raps about what? He goes, let me play it for you. And I heard a couple of words, and I was like, wait, is he like rapping like about the Bible? He goes, yeah, it's like Christian rap now.
See, when someone doesn't know and they just hear it, they automatically categorize it as Christian hip hop or Christian rap.
Right.
That's not what it is. It's my life. That's Lucky's life rap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Paint me a picture, man. Maybe the fans that possibly that never heard of you. What were you like before you gave your life over?
I was wilding out, bro. Like, you know, I was the one in the club pouring champagne on the girls. You know what I'm saying? In the section at the club, throwing money up. You know what I'm saying? That was my life.
That was your life.
Yes.
Okay. See, with me, it was a little different. I think I struggled with something inside my whole life, because when I didn't have money, I was miserable. When I had money, I was miserable, and I was always angry. At what, I do not know. But anything that anybody would say could trigger me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't necessarily want to be around me, and I didn't want to be necessarily around other people. So to numb it, I go buy me a 40-ounce, a bottle of tequila.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't be sober. Every day I was high. Every night I was drunk, you know what I'm saying? And it started off like that, and then you start taking pills. Next thing you know, I'm doing coke. They done gave me some bumps to sober me up, and now I'm doing lines, and I'm just, you know, it I was out there, bro. I mean, I never smoked no crack or did no heroin or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I was, on drugs pretty bad.
Yeah, same with me. It was just mostly just liquor. It was liquor. I wanted to be by myself, and then when I was by myself, I was too lonely. And then I would drive around in my car, drunk, no lie, and cry, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I talk to rappers like yourself that have been very, very successful, a lot of them hide this story, or
They all got it.
they all got it.
They
Yeah,
all got it. And, that's why a lot of rappers always staying high. They're self-medicating. They don't even realize it. But they can't be sober with themselves because they're I've been around a lot of these dudes. A lot of rappers I've been around, and they can't be sober because they're not
Right.
comfortable with the person they truly are. So they have to get high to feel, okay, now this is me. But now that ain't you. That's the weed, bro. That ain't you.
yeah, it's true.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to get comfortable with yourself, and you got to go into those dark spots of your heart, and you got to figure it out. And the way you do that is through that discipline process.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: was it hard for you? And I'm asking this question because I'm sure there's probably going to be someone listening that says, "Okay, I'm right there where Lucky, was before he gave his life." But I'm thinking, man, I like the world too much, but I know I need to change.
You have to find something that you love enough to make you want to change. For me, it was my kids. So it was my wife, my kids, and I knew I was going to lose my family, and I loved them, but I was going to lose my family if I continued that path that I was on. And so it was out of the love for them. Love it has to be a verb. It's an action. Like, you have to show your love. You got to show your gratitude.
Right.
So that's what I did. I said, I gotta make this change. And so if your love for something is strong enough and you have a purpose and a why, you got to find your why. What is it? If it's, your mom, your wife, your kids, or yourself, you should do it for yourself.
Right. So you had your wife. She knew you when you were out there.
No.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask.
So my wife was a real blessing to my life because when I met her, she was already she had been through a rough life. She was, she had just lost her best friend in a car accident. And
Wow.
So she was, hurt with that. So she was going to church, and she was getting closer to God. And I remember when we first met, she was like, "If you want to, take me out or you want to come see me, you got to come take me to church because I go to church tonight." It was a Wednesday. I'm like, "Dang, we go to church on Wednesday." So we went to the church. You know what I'm saying? But she was a blessing in my life. So now when she hears when I would, try to, I kind of like steered her away from the church a little bit because I was still out there, and I would take her to the clubs, and we would go out of town. We'd fly to Miami and turn up, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
kind of took her away from that. But then we started having problems because now she's already kind of going to church filled with the Holy Spirit, and now here I am coming poisoning her,
Right, right.
putting all the alcohol and the drugs in her life again when she's trying to get away from that. So we started having problems, and we were gonna not make it if I didn't change. Then she ended up getting pregnant with our son, and then I had 4 kids already, and now she had a daughter, so we're together now. That's 5 kids, and now she's pregnant with our son Houston, so now that's 6. So when Houston came, that's when I was like, okay, now I got to really straighten up, bro. I got, 4 kids. I got a woman that's here that's loving my kids like they're hers and
Right.
willing to take care of them. And not many women would do that because I've had other women that didn't stick around. You know what I'm saying? So she was willing to do that. And I knew that was a blessing in my life that I was going to lose. So I said, okay, that's when I said I need to call on God.
Yeah. And when she saw you begin to change, is it safe to say that the woman is possibly waiting for the man to lead? Because I believe that women naturally want to be led.
Yes, they do. As a man, we are supposed to be leaders of our home, our house, so we can be an example, and we can, like now, matter of fact, this morning when I was running back to the house from my morning routine, I saw her leaving the house going for a run, and that just made me so happy. Like I felt like, dang, like I did it. Like what I'm doing is affecting her. Now she's doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Does it bother you still now when you go out and people still recognize you?
no. Nah, I really don't go out. Like, I don't do these interviews, bro.
Right.
Like, me and Tosa, we have a really good relationship. I've known him for 25 years. And, you
Right.
know, when he doesn't ask me for favors or ask me for things. But when he told me you were going to be here and he asked me to come, I said, I got you, bro. But I don't really be out in the city. I live in Conroe, so it's like
Okay.
45 minutes north of here. Like, it's like along the outskirts of Houston.
Okay.
I don't be over here on this side. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Everything I need is out there. You know, my office is right down the street from my house, so I'm good.
That's awesome, man. You know what? We got a few minutes left. Is there anything specifically that you want to bring up or that you want to share before we continue? Anything specific?
No, just, you know, I want to make sure that we're adding more value to these podcasts and these interviews. It has to be more than just, oh, he said this about him, or he's beefing with him, or he snitched on him, or so-and-so did this. It has to be more than that. It can't just be clickbait, because that's what's keeping everybody in a low vibration, because these people are at home scrolling, just sucking up all this gossip and negative energy, and it's keeping everybody down here. So if we can bring value and be the light out here in this dark world, that's how we raise everybody's, you know, consciousness.
And I'm glad you said that because, look, in LA, anybody who's going to watch it, they're not going to like it, but this is what I'm going to say. I at least have a history in music, so when I talk to rappers, we can at least, we have one common type, music, and we can elaborate and talk and have fun with it, okay? There's a lot of guys out there that don't have no talent, or maybe they haven't discovered it, but they know they can go live, and let me just start chisme, let me start gossip, you know.
It's horrible.
Yeah, drama, let me start beefs. And that's what it's based on. So many times when I'm on YouTube and I just kind of want to listen to a song or whatever, because usually I'll tell you the truth. When I work out, I'll listen to classical music or gospel music.
What's that classical view? Like Beethoven?
Yes. I believe it or not, I don't know what it is about it.
Yeah.
But when I'm working out and I listen to it, it makes me cry, bro.
Wow.
And sometimes I feel like I'm releasing something.
Yeah.
You know, and then once in a while I'll play like Donnie McClurkin or Fred Hammond or an old gospel group called Saints in Praise.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of that stuff. But many times, you know, so-and-so punched so-and-so in the mouth, clickbait.
Oh, man, it's horrible. It's so bad. Now, I don't hold the young rappers accountable for that because they're young. They don't know
Right.
no better. But when you older guys are trying to do what the younger guys are doing, now y'all should be ashamed of yourself, because now you 35, 40, 45 years old acting like these youngsters out here. Come
Yes.
on, bro. Like, you got grandkids. What is you doing? You know what I'm saying?
No, it's very, very true. And they're all close to 50, the ones that I know over there,
Yeah.
that are making an impact. And instead of being a light, like you said, or instead of being a blessing, encouraging and motivating people, did you hear that so-and-so, he's got a green light on him? Did you?
Yeah, like, bro, come on, man. This is the music business. You're not in prison. What is you doing? You know what I'm saying?
But you know what they say? I like to call it the Jerry Springer Show on podcast, and it brings them numbers, and it's sad.
Sad. It's just an easy way to make money, and we're losing the true value and real musical talent. Like people that really, you know, have a good gift to share with the world is
Right.
getting pushed away because all this negative stuff that's getting pushed out there.
Right. Yesterday, I posted up the pictures of the individuals that were here, and one guy commented. He says, "Hey, man, is Lucky Luciano going to be there?" And I don't know how this person that commented on my picture knew. And I just put tomorrow. That's all I put.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots me a question, but it was all about music. Now, sometimes I like to ask, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way. I like to ask the artist, do you have a bio? You know, because a lot of times I may not know your albums,
Right.
you know, and a lot of times the artist will get offended, or a lot of times the artist would appreciate that and will say, well, that's good you don't know me, because usually then you're not going to act like a groupie,
Yeah.
you know. Again, when I met Gotos, I didn't know who he was, so I just asked him, let me get a bio, bro.
Yeah.
You know, but he showed me nothing but love. We remain friends. So once again, I'm glad you're here. But I wanted to ask you, as we're wrapping this up, do you plan to release anytime soon, maybe a book, a story about your life?
Yeah, I do plan on releasing a book at the end of this year. You know, I'm already working on it. It's going to be about the daily process. It's called Pray, Run, Read, and it's going to be a self-development book, how to better your life.
I would definitely love to read it, because I'm a reader. At my home library, I have probably about 1,000 books. I probably read about half of them. I take it you read a lot. other than the scriptures, is there any books out there that you could recommend to anyone? Because I get that a lot. People always ask me, what book should I read? Anything that stands out?
Yeah, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich. I would say those are two of the books that I had read at the beginning outside of the Bible when I started my self-development journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There was one that I read. I'm trying to remember the author. He's a very famous author. It's not coming to me. Screw Tape Letters.
Oh yeah, that's the same guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Okay. Then there's another one, Leonard Ravenhill. He has a book called Why Revival Tarries. Mm-hmm. I read that book, bro, and you know what I felt like? I felt like John the Baptist wrote that book.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just straight to the point. And to me, if you're going to talk to me, please, and I'm not trying to dog anybody, but don't talk to me like Joe Osteen. Be a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Be a straight shooter, because that's how I learned.
That's right.
You know, I know everybody's personality is different. You can't yell at everybody.
Yeah, no, that's what I needed too. I needed the hard truths, because like I said, when in the church, there's so much love and grace and come, you're welcome, yes, come over here.
Right.
And that's why people can't get it together, because there's so much love and grace and forgiveness there that they don't never change, but you got to get hard on yourself.
I had a buddy of mine, he's still my friend, his name's James. And I never forgot this, man. I think I was maybe like 28 years old, and he actually made me cry. I was 28 years old with kids and everything. Mm-hmm. And I walked up to him, and I've always known that he was a God-fearing man, even though I didn't believe at that time. But I tapped him on the shoulder, and I go, "What's the word, Mockingbird?" And he looks at me, he's a black man. And he goes, "Do you really want that word?" And I was like, "Yeah." And here's what he told me, bro, and it scared the hell out of me. God wanted me to tell you that you're on the road straight to hell right now.
Dang.
And he looked at me very, very serious and walked away from me. And I just went home and I thought about that, and I was like, holy crap. He doesn't play around with me like that, so I knew.
Yeah.
And it shook me up. Mm-hmm. Then he ends up telling me later on, he calls me, with some you win with fear, some you win with love. Yeah. And with you, that's the way I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it worked.
Yeah. They say that, religious people are religious because they fear hell, but spiritual people have already been through hell.
Yeah.
So they don't fear it. They've already been there. And that's, people like us, we've already been through hell.
Yes. I wonder what Gold Toes was going to say, because I don't think he expected this kind of interview.
Shout out to Toes, eh? Yeah, so he wanted me to mention this. When Toes first came to Texas, to live here, this was probably back in 2006, and he was doing his digital. He was working with in-groups in California. And we didn't have streaming back then. It wasn't Spotify, Apple Music. All they had was ringtones and iTunes. So he was like, "Lucky, I'm doing this thing. Let me put your music on ringtones, and we'll get paid." And I was like, man, I had a catalog of music by then. I had already been doing mixtapes and CDs, putting them out for every. I would drop a tape every month. You know what I'm saying? So I had a catalog of music, but I think I gave him a couple. And one thing about Gold Toast, we might have argued a lot in the past. We've never argued about no money. He's always been on time with his money, and he's a man of his word when it comes to the money. That's why he's so successful doing what he's doing now.
Right.
Because when I gave him those tapes, he paid me every month on time. And then I gave him more, and I gave him more, and then I gave him the whole catalog. Come on. And then a few years later, then we got Spotify and Apple Music and the streaming services. But I was one of the first ones here, if not the very first one in Houston, in Texas, to trust Gold Toast. Because none of the guys here, the rappers here, they didn't trust Toast. Like, they liked him.
Yeah.
But like, hey, this California dude, he might run back to Cali with all our money and we will never see him again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they didn't really trust him like that. But after they saw us getting money together for a while, and Gold Toast managed me for a little while. So, he would give me shows and stuff, and we were getting money together.
That's awesome, man. Let's just say that there's a young rapper, once again, maybe internally struggling like what you were going through. And he doesn't know if he should continue in this rap game or surrender his life. What type of encouraging word would you give to someone like that?
I would just say, don't try to fake it till you make it. Become the man first. Build your character up first. Build your story up first, so you have some value to add to the audience. So you're not just out here doing some wild stuff to get views. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I would tell them.
Okay. Any shout outs you want to give? We pretty much are done.
Man, shout out to everybody out there, man. If you want to change your life, call on the Lord, hold yourself accountable to your thoughts, to your actions, implement a daily process, a program time. Wake up before the sun up and do something your body don't want to do. And don't do it just a 30-day challenge, a 90-day challenge. It's got to be a lifestyle thing. And watch how quick your life start to change.
Absolutely. Other than that, man, thank you very much for being transparent, sharing your story. You know what? I'm going to find you on Instagram so that way I can see what you do pretty much every morning as well. That's a beautiful thing. So once again, thank you for that.
Yeah, y'all check me out on Instagram, ITS Lucky Baby. It's Lucky Baby on Instagram, and I'm going to be right there inspiring you, motivating you every morning before the sun up. Let's get it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, Lucky Luciano, he doesn't do these interviews. I didn't think this interview was going to go this route. Most of you guys probably wanted to hear about him wilding out, but you know what? He's a different man today. Thank God for that. Thank everybody who like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys share it. Much love and respect. All the way from Houston, Texas. Once again, powered by Gold Toast Digital Distribution. Thank you. Much love and respect. We are out until next time.
Let's go.
Yo, shout out to Anlo. Let me see. He dropped $5. He said, "Is you still Dope House fam? Playmate Mexican? What's good with Carlos?" Were the questions. You know what? We couldn't ask him that question right now, but I'm shouting out your question. Enrique Ledesma, he's been a member for 28 months. He said, "This was a cool interview. Obviously expecting a journey into his musical career and upbringing. Instead, we got a mashup of Roadium Radio and Bible Talk. Definitely a good watch." Okay, shout out to everybody. Good night, guys.